Well, hello everybody. How are you doing today? And welcome back to Jedi Granville Productions. I am Jedi Granville, if you didn't know that already. And with me, I have a good guest host right here, Mr. DJ Anubis, who you can find on Metal Tavern. And it's a rocking channel. Trust me when I say that. And we're here on a segment of mine called Retro Moments. And we're going to be discussing a little bit of a oldie but goodie, and it turns 40 years old, believe it or not, this month. And I've it's kind of funny. The classics are so more classical when you realize, like, man, these things had some really amazing things about them, which is why they become memorable, as the saying goes. But what we're going to be discussing is this timely classic. It's an action picture, and to me, action pictures today, you can do them, but they don't have the flair that this one has, which is To Live and Die in LA. And let me just say, this picture here it's a very unique one. It's a movie that's based on a book by Gerald Pekovich. I think I'm saying his name right, last name right. But I don't know. I mean, this movie is one of those, I think, last of those ones that are so gritty that you just get so involved with it, you don't know how to handle it. But to kind of get started with it, what was your take on it? And in fact, what was the first time you actually heard of this film, DJ?
So this came out in 85, and so obviously that would have had been around the time that I had first seen, but I think I saw it on like HBO when it came like later. Like I never saw it in the theaters or anything. I remember it being very memorable and also very surprising. So you said this is kind of like an action flick. It does have action, but it's almost a drama thriller as well. Now it stars some very good actors: Willem Dafoe, William Peterson,
Yes.
John Turturro, which I'd forgot about. Dean Stockwell's in there as well. It's just wonderfully acted. And the thing is, like when I first saw it, like back then when I was so hung up on all the major action films by like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, this is one that you wouldn't really think that you would sit down and enjoy on that same level. But because of how deep and cool the story is, like there is this moment early in the film where Eric Masters, played by Defoe, he's a counterfeiter. So he's cutting out the templates for the bills, and he's doing the ink, and it's like a whole process. That process goes for like almost, I don't know what, 10 or 15 minutes while he's doing this.
Oh, that, yes.
And so I like that attention to detail because you're not bored. You're very interested in what he's doing and how he's doing it. Like it's the whole thing. Like even when he goes to take the counterfeit money and throws it in the dryer with like clothes and some other things to get it to get crinkly. Like, yeah. And so I fucking love that. Like it's so attention to detail. But the film, eventually it ends like in a way that you wouldn't think, and we'll get to that eventually. But again, the other thing is too, the soundtrack is by Wang Chung.
Yes.
Which, I have the actual greatest hits to Wang Chung, so I always had heard this song, remembering it from the movie. But
right.
At the same time, it almost doesn't fit sometimes, just because it's a little more upbeat with some of the stuff in there. But I don't know, maybe Wang had struck a deal with the company at the time to do the soundtrack. But the biggest surprise I found is actually today, and that is that it's directed by William Friedkin.
Yes.
So he's the guy that did Exorcist as well as Sorcerer. And so now that I revisit this movie yesterday and how it plays out and how gritty it is, like you said, it makes total sense with his type of directing. Like I get it. I see it now, and it makes sense why he would have directed something like this. But when you decided to do this film, I was like, I've got to be in on this because it is a fucking fantastic film.
Yes. Well, remember now, William Friedkin. Now you mentioned those two pretty much classics there. Remember, he directed The French Connection, and there's a moment in that film which is like such a gritty action piece where Gene Hackman's character, Popeye Doyle, is going through the streets, and that was all like real raw and gritty filmmaking with them doing that, So it only makes sense that it would come into play that, if he does something like this, which we'll get to the action piece, it would center on, that, okay, we're not just focusing on action. We're focusing on a really good story with good characters that you mentioned. What's up, Kevin? How you doing today? Hopefully you're doing all right, sir. Yes, but no, that's the thing about this. This was a very strange outing, and to me, in my personal opinion, for William Friedkin, at the time, because I'm like, this seems a little bit more robust than what he had previously done for the French Connection. And when I saw the advertising for the film, and I did see it eventually, like on HBO a few years later, and I was just like mesmerized by how, like I say, like really kind of grainy in terms of the environment that was going on. I mean, and that's why I say the 70s, it's really gritty to a degree, maybe because we grew up in that era because we were kids, but when you get in the 80s, you still have that residue of something that was brought over from the 70s into this, and it still seems more realistic to some degree, which I feel is a good thing because as you say, you mentioned before, you've watched a lot of Schwarzenegger, you watched a lot of Stallone films that came out there, action, it's like Rambo, Commando. It's like, yeah, they're over the top, they're doing, and you love that stuff, you don't mind that stuff. But the thing about that is that you want to have a moment where the action keeps you kind of grounded to the degree that it's like, okay, it doesn't seem like, it's over the top, but you seem like, I can see this actually happening, this is something that can actually happen in real life. And if you watch it, it's like, it really does seem like it can happen in real life. What's Kevin, what's Kevin saying? Let's show. What is it doing? This is, what? Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Did you, so, can you see me?
I see you. Yeah.
You hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you too.
Am I going out? Oh, maybe.
Not that I can see. I see you look fine to me. Now you're going out a little bit. A little frozen up.
No, what's going on? That's what happens when you go live, people. Yeah.
Zub. Now he's out. I'll hold on while he's out there. Can you guys still hear me okay for the rest of you while he figures out what he's doing? I just want to make sure you guys still hear me. There you go. Well, now it's just me. So yeah, this film, of course, stars William Peterson, Willem Dafoe, Deborah Fuhrer, John Turturro, Dean Stockwell. You get to see a showcase of a lot of young talent. Yeah. So basically, this film, based on a 1984 novel by the same name, U.S. Secret Service agent Gerald Petrovich, that's actually the agent who wrote the book, I think, the screenplay. The film tells the story of the lengths of which two Secret Service agents go to arrest a counterfeiter. And the counterfeiter is basically played by William Dafoe, who's Eric Masters. And again, we talked about a little bit earlier where they had this nice 10 or 15 minute scene where Eric Masters is creating the template for the counterfeit. It's very detailed on how he goes from starting point A of creating the dollar bills and then bringing it out and how it becomes like a full-fledged counterfeit money. But Eric Masters is also a dangerous guy where he's not afraid to kill people if necessary. So basically the film has a moment where William Peterson's character, Richard Chance, his older partner that he's working with, is trying to hunt down this counterfeiter by himself. And so he's at this like abandoned warehouse out in the middle of nowhere. And he starts looking through the trash can, but then of course Eric Masters and his bodyguard, Jack, I think is his name is, comes out and basically shoots this older cop and kills him, and then they hide his body in the dumpster. Now the dumpster is where Masters had hid his big bag of counterfeit money initially. So this cop was trying to snoop and figure out, try to catch Masters red-handed with the money. But also, eventually the body's discovered by Chance and the rest of the police force. When they finally get to that abandoned warehouse, they find the body of his partner in the dumpster. And this becomes like a revenge thing now for Richard Chance, because he's pissed that his friend and his partner are dead, who was actually a couple of days from retirement. It starts almost sort of like Beverly Hills Cop 2 a little bit, with how the main cop in that one got shot trying to track down the burglars, but not quite as fancy as the Beverly Hills Cop movie. But either way, similar in theme. So Richard Chance, now he's like a Secret Service agent, now cop, who is determined to bring down Eric Masters. Like, that's the whole point that he wants to do now. And I'm sorry I can't remove the entertainment headquarters thing because I don't have control of that, but hopefully he's able to get back. Let me tell him something. So I don't know what's happening with his feed right now, but either way, where was I? Okay, so yeah, so Chance now is like trying, like he's gonna do whatever it takes to bring down Eric Masters. Like, and the thing about this film is, which is interesting, is despite the fact that you have cops and robbers and bad people, like you really don't have any good people, because even our cops are kind of like corrupt and sidestep the law to get to a point where they want. So even Peterson's character of Richard Chance, he does things even if he thinks he's doing it in a good way, it's actually bad. So he has an informant that he's sleeping with, a girl. So in order to keep her giving him information, he blackmails her with sex and everything else to not turn her in because she's on parole. So he basically blackmails her for information and then sex or whatever. So he's not a very good dude, and he sidesteps different things. He sidesteps the law to try to bring down Masters. Now, Masters has his own girlfriend, Bianca, hot-looking redhead, played by Deborah Fuhrer, and she kind of like, she doesn't really get into the dirt like Masters does. So, but she knows what's going on, and she realizes obviously, like there's a point where Masters doesn't trust one of the guys he's working with the counterfeit money. So he basically sends his girlfriend in to kind of seduce this guy and let him into the house. And that's when, of course, Master kills that guy, thinking that he's, betraying him or taking his money. So, man, I don't know what's going on with him over there. He says, "I will return." I don't know. I feel so bad. I'm taking over his show. But he gets that guy killed. She does, helping him out with that. So she doesn't really get her hands dirty in that regard. But she also has this weird dynamic because she's like a dancer, I think, or like does stage plays or something. She dresses up and makeup and stuff. But whenever Master visits her, he kind of gets sexy with her and sexy time. And there's this other girl that works with her, and I guess the other girl has like a crush on his girlfriend as well. Eventually they kind of get together, but again, there's not really anybody in this film that you can sit there and root for because they're all kind of bad in their own way. But the acting is top notch. I mean, it's a really, really good acting all the way around. It's one of the earliest roles I can remember seeing William Dafoe and William Peterson. Although I can't remember when Manhunter came out, what year that was, because that was probably one of the early films I saw him in as well. before he went on to do, I think it was CSI or something later in the 90s. But overall, just a great cast, excellent. I think even what is his name? If I can remember, Steve James. So if you remember this guy from the 80s and 90s, like he did a lot of those action films. He's in this as well. So, again, another familiar face you'll see if you watch this. It's on Tubi right now. You can watch this film for free. Highly recommended. Like I said, Friedkin, who did this film and did Exorcist as well, Sorcerer, two other great films in his catalog. Yeah, I don't know like what else I'm going to be saying about this because I don't want to leave him out of this. Oh, let me see. I just checked it real quick. I'm like telling the whole movie. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to get in touch with Jedi. Yeah, he's responding on Facebook, but I don't know if he just can't like get in there and like I don't know what's going on with the stream. Like it's still going live, so I don't know what's happening with him right now.
You live right now?
Sort of.
What's happened?
Well, we started our stream and then something happened with Jedi's feed, so he left and is trying to work on it. But I'm currently holding down the fort, but he can't seem to either get back into it.
He can't get back in?
Yeah, he's saying his internet is down.
His internet?
That's what he's saying.
Can he hotspot off of his phone?
I don't know.
My mommy made you a salad.
Yay. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going to do, folks. I'm going to leave because I don't want to do this without him. And right now I'm the only one talking about the film. So, and this is his channel. So, he's got to be here to do his review. But gives you a chance all to go watch the film on your own. If you want it, you can come back and then talk with us and chat about it whenever he reschedules this. So I do apologize for what happened on his feed. You can't control, like maybe he has bad weather or something going on. I don't know. But this is a good film, and I want to do this with Jedi, but we'll have to come back to when things are sorted and he can control and make sure he doesn't fall off and all that stuff. So again, many apologies. But we'll be back at some point to do this for you, and see you later.